Welcome back to my channel at The Movie Optimist, where I try and find the silver linings in even the worst of films. It was just announced that Netflix was pushing for a live-action version of Kpop Demon Hunters, which I watched the animated movie finally, and I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie, it's not normally a movie I would gravitate towards, kind of like the K-pop music isn't really my thing, but I gotta admit, I find that I often hum a lot of the songs that were in that movie, and it was really, really enjoyable as a kid's movie about these three girls that were also singers that also battled demons in the dead of night with epic swords and magical powers that they had. Now, Netflix, of course, wants to turn it into a live-action movie because it's their most viewed film of all time. Like, it did huge numbers for them, and not only did it do huge number, the biggest that Netflix has ever had, more than Stranger Things, more than The Irishman, more than Red, whatever the hell that movie was with Dwayne Johnson and Ryan Gosling and Gal Gadot. They want to ride that hype train. They want to keep going in the K-pop Demon Hunter world. So they're doing things like putting a musical sing-along version to the film in theaters for people to go to over the weekends, and it's making hand over fist in money, and they want to make a live action version to appeal to the people that don't really gravitate towards animated films. I hear the comments all the time, I hear the arguments, I understand some people just don't gravitate towards cartoons because they think it's for kids, and I am of the mind that that is just not true. There are plenty of cartoons that have adult messages. I think you just need to broaden your horizons, but if you really just don't like cartoons, it is what it is. Netflix understands that. They want to make a live action version and try and double dip with this movie. On top of that, they're also talking about making a sequel to this in animated form, which I think is the right path to go. But I gotta tell you, I do think that the live action version is a stupid idea, and so does the creator of the animated film. And I've seen a lot of people going back and forth on why it's a good idea, why it's a bad idea. People were talking about how One Piece was done right, and they just need to follow that pattern. And I have seen a bunch of One Piece. I haven't watched all of it. I'm not put up. I haven't watched it in a couple years, but I've seen enough to understand what the art design and the animation and the characters are like in the cartoon to know that the live action does not do it all. They got right the personality of the cast. They did. They all have accurately portrayed their animated counterparts, and the tone, the vibe, the humor, the action, it's all there. But there is some stuff missing that you just simply can't do in live action, and it's the same thing with Kpop Demon Hunters. Their facial expressions and the way that things get super animated to the point where only cartoons can do it, where like their eyes get really big and they're stuffing food in their face really fast. There's just things about anime that can never fully be transferred over to live action because our human bodies physically can't move the way that these animated characters can, and we can't make the expressions that they can. We can't capture what makes anime unique in live action, and I'm sure there's a way to do it where fans of the cartoon enjoy it just enough to not call it a failure, but I don't think they will ever fully be able to make a live action version that lives up to the animated film. And if you can't make something that could, you don't have to exceed it, you just have to live up to it. But if you can't do that, then what is the point? It's not like this is Warner Brothers or Paramount that they made a cartoon, now they want to make it in live action. I get why they're doing it with Moana. Moana is a $1 billion franchise. They want to make a live action version of it now. It's not hard because Pixar movies, although yes, Pixar has movies with aliens and stuff that isn't real, you could do it with CGI, but you're usually following a human, and they never go so full anime and do things that are super unbelievable to the point where in my mind I'm like, you can't do a Moana. Of course you could do a Moana. The Rock is still just as big as Maui, and he looks like Maui. He doesn't do anything super out of the norm outside of transform into a bird, but you could do that with CGI. I get why movies like that are made in America that are animated get remade into live actions, but there's something so special about anime that makes it what it is because it's something that isn't able to be adapted. There's an extra level and layer of creativity and the design work of the characters that you just can't do in live action. And like I said, if you can't make a version that's going to live up to the original and perfectly capture the essence of what made that one so special, don't do it at all, because then it just seems like a desperate cash grab and you're going to dilute your franchise. But that's just my thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you want to see a live action version of this, or do you agree with me that they should just leave it alone? It's amazing as it is. I personally want to see a sequel, but only in animation. What say you guys? Let's talk about it in the comments down below. And as always, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you next time.